The gym buzzed with energy, the rhythmic thuds of punches hitting pads and the sharp barks of instructors echoing off the padded walls. Fluorescent lights cast a sterile glare over the space, where sweat and pride mixed freely. At the far corner, a woman sat cross-legged, calm and quiet, watching. Alyssa Carter didn't speak much. She arrived early, stayed late, and kept to herself. Some thought she was shy, others assumed she was new. She wore the white belt without complaint, blending in with the beginners even though there was something different in how she moved, fluid, grounded, like her body remembered something she wasn't saying. Across the mat, Logan Michaels smirked at his reflection in the mirror as he tightened his black belt. He thrived here. It wasn't just the skill, though he had plenty of that, it was the attention. The way people watched him spar, the respect, the applause. Logan liked eyes on him, especially when he was the loudest in the room. She was the opposite of that. Always quiet. Always observing. For weeks now, Alyssa had attended classes, drilling movements without ever stepping into a sparring match. Some people whispered. Logan noticed. "You just here to watch, or are you gonna actually do something today?" Logan called out as he passed her, voice loud enough for others to hear. A few chuckled. Alyssa looked up, expression unreadable. She gave a small smile, nothing more. That irked him. Logan turned back around, stretching his neck dramatically. "Come on, white belt. I need a warm-up round. You in?" The instructor glanced up from across the room, brows raised slightly but said nothing. The other students paused. A few lifted their phones, sensing something about to happen. Alyssa uncrossed her legs slowly. She stood up, calmly dusted her pants, and walked toward the mat. Her footsteps made no sound. She stopped a few feet from him. "Sure," she said, voice even. "I'm in." Logan's eyebrows rose. "Oh? That easy?" He grinned and gestured to the mat like a ringmaster inviting a clown into the circus. "Don't worry, I'll go easy." Alyssa didn't respond. She removed her hoodie, revealing a plain black sports top and lean, sculpted arms. Not bulky, but strong. Built. Her stance wasn't that of a rookie. She walked barefoot to the center, rolled her shoulders once, and stood still. The calm before a storm no one saw coming. "All right then." Logan bounced on his heels. "Let's make this quick." They bowed. The instructor gave a nod. The match began. Logan came forward light on his feet, teasing, throwing lazy jabs to test her reaction. She didn't move. Just watched. His third jab was a little faster, aimed at her shoulder. She tilted her body the barest amount, enough that his hand sliced air. "Okay," he muttered. "Little slippery." He tried a low kick. She lifted her foot gently, avoiding it without shifting weight. People began to murmur. Logan, still smiling, came in harder, combo of 2 punches and a knee feint. Alyssa stepped to the side, hand brushing his forearm, redirecting him with no force at all. It was like water pushing a stone off balance. "Come on, Logan!" Someone laughed. "She reading your moves." Logan scowled. His pride bruised. He feinted left and swung a right hook. Alyssa ducked. Not quickly. Smoothly. Effortlessly. Her elbow rose at the same time, clipping his ribs with precision. Not hard, but placed perfectly. A black belt would recognize it, control. A white belt wouldn't even know it happened. He backed off, eyes narrowing. All right then. The second round began with more force. Logan didn't like being embarrassed. He launched forward with a spinning kick, using his full strength. Alyssa sidestepped with timing that made it look rehearsed. His foot landed where she had just been, and before he could recover, her leg swept behind his knee, and she twisted. Logan slammed into the mat. The entire gym gasped. He rolled over quickly, flushed, laughing off the fall as if it were an accident. "Lucky shot," he grunted. Alyssa extended a hand. He ignored it and got up on his own. "You want to keep going?" she asked softly. "I'm just getting started," he growled. He charged this time, more reckless. A flurry of strikes. Alyssa blocked, pivoted, ducked. Then, 3 quick moves. Her elbow hit his sternum, palm to his shoulder, and with a turn of her hip, she flipped him again. Harder. Logan groaned. Phones were definitely recording now. No one was laughing anymore. Even the instructor was watching intently, arms folded. Logan lay on the mat for a beat longer this time, then forced himself up, breathing heavier. His smile was gone. His eyes burned. "This isn't funny anymore," he muttered. "I didn't think it was," Alyssa replied. Her tone wasn't smug. It wasn't even cold. It was factual. Honest. And that unnerved him more than any blow. He came again, lower this time, trying to grab her. She spun, slipped out, brought her knee up, and tapped his jaw lightly, just enough to let him know she could have ended it right there. He stumbled back, dazed, hands up. What belt are you really?" he asked, blinking. Alyssa just looked at him. Someone near the mirror muttered, "I think I've seen her before." But no one moved to help Logan. No one dared interrupt. Logan shook his head, tried to charge one more time, and that's when she stepped in. For the first time, she attacked. One quick move. A sidestep. A grip on his wrist. A twist. A sweep. He hit the mat a third time, this time flat on his back, wind knocked clean out of him. The gym fell into dead silence. Alyssa stood over him, not gloating, not smiling. She bowed politely, stepped off the mat, picked up her hoodie, and walked back to her corner. Calm, as if she just finished a stretch. Logan didn't get up right away. Everyone stared. Nobody said a word. Logan sat up slowly, blinking as if waking from a bad dream. His chest rose and fell with heavy breaths, his jaw tight, pride fractured. Around him, the gym was a hushed crowd of wide eyes and slack jaws. Phones still pointed his way, some angled toward Alyssa, who was calmly adjusting her hoodie like nothing had happened. No one laughed this time. The instructor stepped in, clearing his throat. "All right, next group up." But the next group didn't move. No one wanted to follow that. Logan wiped sweat from his forehead, his usual smirk nowhere to be found. He glanced toward Alyssa. She was seated again, sipping from her water bottle, gaze forward, expression unreadable. He stood, pushing past whispers and looks, his knuckles widening around the strap of his gloves. It wasn't supposed to go like that. Not in front of everyone. He was the black belt. The top dog. And she had flipped him like it was nothing. Later that evening, in the locker room, the tension was thicker than the steam rising from the showers. Logan sat on the bench, taping his wrist, jaw still clenched. A couple of the younger guys tried to lighten the mood. "She must have wrestled before, bro, don't beat yourself up. It happens. She's probably just fast. Caught you off guard." But Logan didn't respond. He knew the difference between luck and control. And what Alyssa had done? That was control, effortless, exact, and far beyond beginner level. When he left the locker room, the gym manager was waiting near the counter, chatting quietly with the instructor. Logan slowed as he heard Alyssa's name. "I'm telling you," the instructor said, "that wasn't a fluke. The way she moved? She's done this before. High level. You don't learn that precision from YouTube." The manager nodded. "We should talk to her. Maybe she can help with women's self-defense." Logan felt heat rise in his face. He marched past them without a word and out into the night. The next day, Alyssa returned like always. On time, silent, focused. She greeted the instructor with a polite nod and began warming up in her corner. If she had seen the viral clips circulating on gym forums and TikTok, she didn't show it. Logan was already there, working the bag. Hard. Each strike louder than necessary. He didn't look at her, but everyone else did. Every head in the gym seemed to tilt slightly toward the moment where they'd share space again. Class began. Technique drills, movement drills, nothing flashy. The tension simmered beneath every motion. Every time the instructor asked for pairs, Logan avoided Alyssa, partnering with others, giving quick excuses. She didn't ask. She didn't look his way. It only made things worse. Whispers swirled like static around the gym. Did you see the way she dropped him? She didn't even flinch. I heard she used to be pro or something. Maybe? Someone said she left after her brother died. That true? No one knew the full story, but speculation took root fast. And with every quiet nod Alyssa gave, every time she executed a technique with quiet, focused perfection, the legend grew. Logan couldn't take it. On the third day, during a mid-session break, he walked over to the instructor. Let's do another live round, he said. Me and her. The instructor looked up from his clipboard, studying Logan. You sure? I'm sure. He turned toward Alyssa. She was kneeling by the wall, towel around her neck. She looked up as the instructor motioned. Logan's requesting another round, he said. No hard feelings, right? She met Logan's eyes. No hard feelings. She stood. No hesitation. No tension. Just the same calm presence that had made everyone uneasy now. They stepped to the mat again, this time with the entire gym pretending not to watch but very much watching. Controlled contact only, the instructor said. Light sparring. They bowed. The round began. Logan attacked with speed. Not reckless like before, measured. Calculated. He feinted, struck, circled, watching her responses. Alyssa responded smoothly, blocking, parrying, shifting her weight without wasted movement. She didn't strike. Not yet. He caught her sleeve, used it to attempt a sweep. She slipped it. He pivoted behind her, trying to set up a hold. She rolled forward, freeing herself, then turned to face him, balanced, still calm. Frustration welled in his chest. He came again, this time with more speed. He jabbed, kicked low, then threw a spinning elbow that grazed her shoulder. For a moment, everyone thought she might go down. But she didn't. She moved with it, turning the momentum into a return sweep that left him stumbling, then righting himself. Her hand hovered at his chest, an open palm strike that stopped just before impact. Controlled. Respectful. She could have ended it again. The instructor stepped in. That's time. Logan looked stunned. Not because he lost, but because she chose not to finish him. Alyssa bowed again, stepped back, and returned to her corner. Later, as the gym cleared out, Logan lingered. He walked over to her slowly, his ego bleeding but not entirely gone. Hey, he muttered. She looked up from her water bottle. I overstepped, he said. Last time. I thought you were just another. He stopped himself. I underestimated you. Alyssa watched him, then gave a small nod. Happens. He shifted uncomfortably. You ever fight before? She held his gaze for a second, then looked away. I used to, she said. You're good. Really good. I know. Logan almost laughed, then caught himself. Why here? Why now? Alyssa stood slowly. Her voice stayed soft, but her eyes were steel. Because after a while, people stop expecting anything from you. They forget what you can do. And sometimes, it's good to remind them. She walked past him without another word. He stood still, the weight of her words settling in. And around the gym, a shift had begun. One quiet act of control had flipped the power dynamic. The cocky black belt had become the humbled one, and the silent woman had become the ghost everyone feared to spar. But no one knew yet, this was only the beginning. The gym was quieter now whenever Alyssa walked in. People no longer looked through her, they looked at her. Beginners gave shy nods. Intermediate belts watched with cautious respect. Even the instructors treated her with a subtle shift in tone, like they sensed something they hadn't before. Alyssa didn't change. She showed up early, drilled hard, and stayed silent. But the air around her was different. Thicker. Heavier. No one challenged her. Not after what happened with Logan. And Logan, well, he hadn't spoken to her since. That changed one Thursday evening. It was a crowded session. The mats were packed, and the instructor was splitting the group into advanced and beginner drills. Alyssa had always hovered on the edge, technically a beginner, but clearly beyond it. That day, the instructor called her over. "You mind joining the advanced rotation today?" he asked. She nodded once. "Sure." Logan was already there, tightening his belt, jaw tense. He looked up as she approached, then looked away just as fast. She took her spot without a word. As drills began, the instructor paired them off. Alyssa and Logan stood facing each other, the moment heavy with silent weight. Logan offered a nod. She returned it. They started with flow drills. Close quarter grip breaks. Logan was strong, controlled, technical, but Alyssa moved like a shadow, slipping out of holds before he could fully apply them. Her footwork was fluid, precise. There was a rhythm to her movements that didn't match the rest of the class. Something deeper. Something learned under fire. After 15 minutes, the instructor called a short break. Logan pulled off his gloves, grabbed his water, then walked over to her. "You really never told anyone what you did before this," he said. She didn't respond. He continued, voice quieter this time. "People are saying things. That you used to fight professionally." Alyssa looked at him. Not angry. Just tired. "Let them say what they want." He nodded slowly. "But it's true, isn't it?" She met his eyes. There was no pride in her tone. No showmanship. "I fought. A long time ago. I stopped when my brother died." That silenced him. He didn't ask how. He didn't need to. Her voice carried a weight that made questions feel wrong. Logan looked down at the floor, guilt gnawing his edges. "I didn't mean to back then, when I joked about you sparring. I just thought. You thought I was weak," she finished for him. He nodded. A pause. "I used to think strength was how hard you could hit," Alyssa said. "But real strength is knowing when not to." He watched her carefully, as if seeing her for the first time. There was a calmness in her now that unnerved him more than any punch ever had. That night, after most people had left, Alyssa stayed back, helping a young girl with footwork. She adjusted her stance, gave pointers, even smiled a little. It was the most anyone had seen her open up. The instructor watched from a distance. Then he approached. "You ever think about coaching?" Alyssa raised an eyebrow. "You've got the kind of presence that makes people listen," he said. "And after what you did with Logan, a lot of people, especially the women, are asking if you'd run a self-defense class." Alyssa considered that for a moment. She didn't answer right away. "I don't know," she said at last. "I'm not sure people are ready to learn from someone like me." The instructor laughed. "They already are. You just haven't said yes yet." She smiled faintly, then turned to look across the gym. Logan stood at the far end, helping another student with wrist control drills. For the first time, he didn't look smug. He looked focused. Later that night, as Alyssa walked toward the parking lot, she heard footsteps behind her. Logan caught up, breath visible in the cold air. "Hey," he said, a little breathless. She stopped, letting him approach. "I looked you up," he said. "Alyssa Carter. National MMA champion. 5-time title holder. Retired after, yeah?" She said nothing. Let him speak. "Why didn't you tell anyone?" "I didn't come here to prove anything," she replied. "I came here to feel normal." He nodded. "But you're not normal. You're something else." There was no bitterness in his voice anymore. No ego. Just admiration. And maybe shame. "I've got a lot to unlearn," he said. "About people. About respect." She looked at him for a long moment. "Good. Then start with this. Don't apologize because you lost. Apologize for why you started that fight." He looked down. "Yeah. I will." As he turned to go, he paused. "Hey, when you teach that class, if you ever do, I'll send my little sister. She could learn a lot from you." Alyssa nodded, and for the first time in weeks, her voice softened just a little. "She won't be the only one." That weekend, something changed. Alyssa arrived at the gym early, as usual, but this time she brought a duffel bag filled with printed flyers. Women's Self-Defense Class, coming soon. Taught by Alyssa Carter. She posted one near the front desk, another in the locker room, and one more near the water fountain. Word spread fast. People whispered not with mockery now, but curiosity and anticipation. The quiet woman who had stunned the gym wasn't just a one-time phenomenon. She was about to become something much more. And in the back corner, Logan watched her post the last flyer. He didn't speak. He just nodded to himself, knowing full well the gym would never be the same. The first day of Alyssa's class, the gym smelled like nerves. A row of women stood in front of her, some in gym gear, some in oversized sweatshirts, one still clutching her purse like she wasn't sure if she belonged. Ages varied. Backgrounds too. What united them was uncertainty. Fear, even. Alyssa could feel it in the air, the way they shifted their weight, looked at the mat like it might betray them. She remembered that feeling. She had lived it once. Not in a gym, but in life, when people assumed things about her, when rooms decided who she was before she ever spoke. This class wasn't about fighting. It was about reminding these women they didn't need permission to be powerful. She stood silently for a few seconds before speaking. I'm Alyssa. I'm not here to turn you into fighters. I'm here to remind you you're not defenseless. The room went still. Anyone ever told you to make yourself small when you walk alone? She asked. A few heads nodded. Ever been talked over? Stepped around? Grabbed without permission? Now more nods. One woman blinked hard, trying not to cry. Alyssa stepped forward. Her voice didn't rise, but it carried weight. This space is yours. You don't have to be loud to take up room. You don't need fists to own your body. But today, I'll show you how to use both, just in case you ever need to. She stepped onto the mat. Let's begin. They started with simple movements. Footwork. Balance. How to fall without injury. How to breathe when adrenaline tried to choke them. Alyssa demonstrated with calm precision, repeating moves patiently, correcting with gentle hands. She wasn't the silent ghost of before, she was present. Intentional. Words spread quickly. By the second week, the class had doubled in size. The front desk kept running out of sign-up sheets. Even women from outside the gym were coming in. Mothers brought daughters. College students came after evening lectures. One woman even drove 3 hours from a nearby town after watching Alyssa's clip online and reading the caption, asterisk. The black belt laughed. She didn't. Asterisk. Logan watched from the side during most of the sessions. He never interrupted. Just observed, helping with pads when asked, offering quiet encouragement to beginners. His ego had taken a hit, but his growth showed in his silence. Alyssa never acknowledged him during class, but she noticed. And she respected it. One night, after class, the gym's manager approached Alyssa. You've filled every slot for next month, he said, amazed. We're going to open a second session if you're willing. Alyssa wiped sweat from her brow, thoughtful. Let's do it. But not here. He blinked. What do you mean? I want to hold the second class at the community center, she said. No fees. No memberships. Just space and time. He nodded slowly, understanding. That weekend, Logan caught her outside as she packed her gym bag. Why the community center? He asked. Because some women won't walk into a gym like this. Not when it feels like they don't belong. So I'll meet them where they are. He hesitated, then said, If you ever need help, I'm in. She looked at him, and for once, there was warmth in her eyes. I know. It wasn't long before the videos began circulating again. But this time, it wasn't about a fight. It was footage of Alyssa showing women how to break holds, how to scream without apology, how to push back. Clips of her helping a teenage girl up off the mat, of her nodding as an older woman landed her first clean strike on a pad. One video, in particular, went viral. Alyssa stood in front of the class, arms folded. If someone grabs you, she said, You don't freeze. You don't apologize. You respond. She demonstrated with a volunteer. The woman grabbed her wrist. Alyssa twisted out and gently but firmly took control. Then she let go and looked into the camera. You are not prey, she said. That line exploded across the internet. Printed on t-shirts. Quoted in forums. Shared by activists, teachers, mothers, daughters. You are not prey. By the end of the month, local news had caught on. A reporter arrived, mic in hand, awkward but well-meaning. She interviewed Alyssa outside the community center after a session. You're being called the Quiet Storm online, the reporter said. What do you think of that? Alyssa smiled, just a little. Storms make noise. I just bring calm before people realize what hit them. The reporter laughed, charmed. Why now? She asked. Why come back into the spotlight after all this time? Alyssa looked past the camera, watching her students file out, chatting, smiling, more confident than they'd arrived. Because someone once tried to make me feel powerless, she said. And I believed them. For a long time. Until I didn't. The interview aired 2 nights later. Logan watched it alone in his apartment. He didn't flinch. Didn't feel bitter. He just nodded, quietly proud. A week after that, he stopped Alyssa after class. I saw the interview, he said. I've been thinking about something. She raised an eyebrow. There's a tournament coming up. Not big. Just regional. No cameras, no sponsors. I think you should enter. She shook her head. I didn't come back to compete. I know, he said. But it's not about winning. It's about reminding people what real strength looks like. Alyssa considered him for a long moment. Then, without confirming or denying, she picked up her bag. As she walked away, Logan called out, You'll always have an audience now. She stopped at the door and turned her head just slightly. I don't need an audience, she said. I need mirrors. And then she was gone. But everyone who crossed her path, Logan, the women she trained, the gym she once walked through invisible, would never forget her. She hadn't shouted. She hadn't bragged. She simply stepped onto the mat and changed the room. Forever.